Hello and welcome.
Hello and welcome.
So, do we have a lot of a lot of hellos. Hellos from everywhere. We see some good old friends here from past, some new names.
And some Portuguese people there. Bom dia, bom dia. Is the image a bit bright perhaps on us? Maybe you should...
It looks a little bit bright. You do it better. Is it this one?
Yes. And then we go...
Exposure, right?
Yes. And here we have some...
Oh, so much nicer.
Yes.
Awesome. Always good to have David on board.
I always fix the lights, yes.
Yes, yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, last time I was alone doing sunlight, and we had a little sunlight competition, and it felt very lonely. It feels so much better to have you back.
I am here.
Yes.
You can lean on me.
Yes.
And I can lean on you.
Oh, that's good.
And we can make this show a leaning show.
That's true. That's what I read about beer. It actually makes you lean.
Ah.
Yeah, it makes you lean against the bar desks, walls.
It makes you lean, yes.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
Yeah. So that's
Lean,
actually
mean beer machine.
exactly. We have hellos from Holland and sunny Orlando and South Africa.
Orlando,
Awesome.
South Africa.
Mexico
Hello.
City. Hello. Last week we were supposed to send, but we had some trouble with logistics and timing, because we were actually in Alaska.
We were in Alaska and
Yes.
we had a lot of stuff to do, and it was quite tedious to get all the logistics up to make this run. So
Yeah. And so our plan was that we were supposed to send from Alaska, but we were also at the same time running 2 presentations. You ran one and I had 1 presentation.
Yes.
And then we did 4 workshops.
yes, and we also were on a mountaintop really high up. So I don't know if we would have any access to the
That's true.
internet. So
That's true. But we had some good helpers as well with Eric Ripogle and Cliff Hausner. If you guys are looking, thank you so much for your help.
Thank you.
You were awesome. What we did in Alaska, we were actually there to launch the B10. So we were helping Profoto USA. They had put together an event where they had invited a few photographers to actually help us and test out the product properly, really push it to the limits. And
they sure did. And we had some really interesting lighting discussions and lighting courses and workshops that we were trying to, really get them to understand light with the B10 and testing it really to the max.
And some of the exercises were kind of not really tested either. I mean, we really
winged it.
Yeah, winged it, and we're hoping that it would work. And it actually, the B10 delivered.
Yeah, it really did. I was up on this mountain shooting a model with a very big dress in the shade. Everything was beautiful and wonderful. And then one guy said, "Hey, let's go out and take it into the sun."
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and I hadn't had any time to test it. The B10 is so new. So I was like, yeah, let's go and test it in the sun. How will it compare to the sun? And it did really, it was wonderful.
Wow.
We could just, match it with the sun. And actually we had like 5 simultaneous shooters at the same time. Like, so the flash was really,
working.
Banging and really working. And nobody actually even thought about that it was so good. It was just like natural. It just worked. Just worked.
That's cool.
And the battery time was also amazing. I think we changed battery 1 time in 2 days. Well, of course we didn't shoot the whole day, but it was like...
Yeah, so 2 half days.
Yeah.
So for a full day you changed the battery once, and it was intense. With
it really intense.
40 plus photographers shooting.
Yeah.
And you were outdoors up on the mountaintop with a fantastic view.
Yeah,
bright
crazy
sunshine.
view.
Yeah, good for you. I was stuck in a conference room with the ugly walls and nothing fun really. So yeah, anyway, I'm not bitter at all.
But
That's
I know
fine.
that you created beautiful light indoors anyway.
Yes.
Yeah.
We had some more Portuguese friends here. Lima, Peru, and Germany, Japan. And I saw something. We had El Salvador and sunny Holland. Sorry, sunny Holland, Taiwan, Argentina, Istanbul. It's from all over the world. And big shout from Scotland as well. Cool. Brazil. This is crazy. We got people. Are you guys up in the middle of the night or like crazy hours? Because if I'm looking at the comments where you're coming from, either you have all traveled to Europe and you are kind of in a normal time zone, or you are up way too early or way too late. That's cool.
We have a question here from Vitor Mota. Hello from Portugal. Love your show. Love the B10. I have been at the presentation in Portugal last week and just love it. When do you visit us?
Well, actually, we have already started talking with the distributor in Portugal. So we have initiated some discussions with them, and we were looking at if there were any opportunities for us to come down and maybe run some workshops face to face, where you really get to get in-depth knowledge on light and also with hands-on. So we will continue those discussions, and we'll keep you posted here on our live as well. So guys, having a giveaway meanwhile. Oh, giveaways. Well, actually, that's maybe not a bad idea.
Yeah.
Santiago, I'll give it. I'll dig around in our cupboards here and see if we can find some fun things to get some giveaways. So we'll do that. Oh, here's someone watching from Sweden. That's cool.
Oh,
at
Sweden.
least someone in a decent time. And Los Angeles. That's got to be like really early in Los Angeles now. And Australia says good day. Anthony in Australia, you are up way too early or up way too late.
Yes.
So anyway, Alaska was good. We did push the product a lot, and it was kind of unsolicited feedback from the photographers. They were all happy with the product. They really found it good. I mean, in so many different aspects. And we plan to do like an unboxing and going through the product and so forth. But we're not going to do that because we have our friend Chris Fain at Profoto USA. He has already done this for us. So if you go on, either you can scroll down here on the Profoto's Facebook page, you will see that we have shared that video, or you go to Profoto USA and to their Facebook page, and you'll find Chris' awesome video where he's going through all the products, the whole product, all the menus and all the ins and outs, exactly how the B10 works, all the specs and so forth. So just go there and you'll find the proper walkthrough. And so then we thought, okay, so what is there for us to talk about?
Exactly. So Anders, if we are not going to do a B10 unboxing, what are we going to do?
Well, since we are all about light, why don't we focus on the light of the B10?
We focus on the light of the B10.
Yes. And there's so many facets of the light.
Yes, of course. And there is actually, I have seen some comments out on the internet, where people are trying to compare the light power and the light output and the light patterns and such. And they're wondering, how is it with the B10? So that is what we are going to do.
Cool. And now I see a question if that's a beer, but it's not. It's actually coffee. It's just coffee with a lot of milk. Yeah, so unfortunately,
it's just coffee.
And I have water in my. Well, that's what you think, I guess. I have a black covered cup, so I can hide anything in here.
And when we do use mics like this, and when we swallow, you know, it sounds probably real gross. So I'm so sorry for, having these gross swallowing sounds here. Yes.
So we are going to look at some flash duration times, just to clear out the things around flash duration, compare it with the like the B2, the B10, and the B1X, because these are the kind of off-camera products.
And also the recycling time, of course.
Recycling, absolutely. So we know kind of ballpark how long the time is in between the flashes if you have a lot of power or a little power.
Yes. So. And what I also think is quite important, and I will try to, or we will try to understand when we go into the power, when we compare the different powers between different flashes. I think we really should try to explain what actually is going on. So you can't just compare 250 watt seconds with 250 watt seconds. There's other stuff that's really important to understand.
It is more complex than one thinks.
And we will try to go into that so you have a realistic view of how powerful these flashes are.
Yeah. We might say the word spaghetti a couple of times.
Spaghetti might turn up, yes.
And then we mentioned that we talked about recycling, flash duration, and we're going to talk about the power. But then also I think it's really interesting to look at how does the light pattern look like from these different flashes. And I think if we include like the A1, zoomed in, zoomed out, and then have B2, B10, and B1, all the different stamps of light that they project.
Do you think still have the spaghettis here? You know, the real spaghettis. If you have them somewhere. If not, then skip it. But if we have them,
we might.
Let's check that out, because it's a good way to explain light patterns and the powers and such.
So we have one question. My batteries on the A1 drains faster than normal. I have 2 A1s and 4 batteries, always worried I'm going to run out of juice, so I keep charging them. So you should actually look at, it's I think 2 episodes back. You find all these episodes of Academy Live on Profoto's Facebook page. You need to scroll down and they will pop up. We have one where we actually look at the batteries and what you should look at. What you do is that you turn on the flash, just leave it on standby, don't flash or anything, just leave it on standby, and after about 15-20 minutes you put your hand on the head and you feel if it's warm or not. If it's warm, there is a kind of a short, what do you call it? It needs service basically, so they need to replace.
If it is warm, then it is a problem.
Yeah. But if it's not,
then
that should not happen.
So
most probably you have one of those units where it drains. And we also did a test because we got 337 flashes from
on power level 10.
On power level 10, and then 8,788 flashes on power level 2.
Yeah.
So no problem with batteries draining.
Shouldn't be any problems.
Yeah. And then we have hello from Petter. Hello, Petter. And Alan is also on board. Cool. So that's that. So I think we need to get cranking. We got a lot of stuff to talk about. We might actually, if you look behind us over here, you see we have a lot of products. So I think we could also take the opportunity to take a look at how the current lineup looks like and how the different products are positioned.
Exactly.
And not positioned just on the light stand, but against each other. Yeah. So why don't we? I could grab the.
Yeah, you grab the
camera. And there you are. And should we start from the top or from the bottom?
We could actually start from the top.
Let's start with the flagship.
Yes, let's start with the flagship. The Profoto Pro 10.
Exactly.
Profoto Pro 10. This beast. This is a beast of 2,400 watt seconds. It delivers flashes like a monster, and I would say that this is the best thing, the most powerful, the most versatile and reliable thing you can have in a studio today.
That's true, and the only downside is that once you use it, it's really hard to use something else. So whoa.
Yes. Do you want to hear the sound of 2,400 watt seconds?
Okay, go close with your microphone then.
Okay, here's them. 3, 2, 1. Ah.
Whoa.
Yes, and please do listen to the recycle time. How quick it recycles.
Okay, so we do that.
Okay, so we do have a flash, and you hear the beep sound. That is when it's recycled. So, yeah, here we are. How many flashes per second is this?
50.
50 flashes per second. That is crazy.
That is crazy.
Yeah.
And and if you look at the menu, it's very similar to the menus of the A1 or any other flash. So it's very, very easy to use. If you know one system, you can handle basically anyone. If you take off the zoom reflector, so here we see how the Pro head looks like with the.
Yeah, this is a clear head. When would you use a clear head instead of a diffused dome? The word is dome, I think.
When you use the hard box, for
example. Which I think you showed last time.
Exactly. So 2 weeks ago.
Is this a standard or do you?
No, that one is an extra. You need to buy that one.
Yeah.
But here you see all the flash tubes with the plasma and the gases in there, and that's where all the magic happens. So
Yes.
and you see there's one tube in the middle that's kind of extruding over there. That's the halogen light bulb. Oh, that's the modeling light.
Yeah, that's the modeling light. Actually, one thing I know that many people misunderstand with the modeling light versus the flash tube is that when the flash flashes, they think that the modeling light turns off and it's dark, and then turns on again when the flash is done, and that is not true. When the flash flashes, the modeling light, there's no time for the modeling light to turn off that quick, so it will still light. So you will have this mix of light. Luckily, the flash is so much stronger, mostly, especially when you're dealing with this kind of
and that's
products.
with the pro heads and the halogen.
Yeah, exactly, with the pro heads and the halogen modeling lights. But it's nice to be aware of if you're using the flash on a really low power. Then these two temperatures will mix, and you will get a warmer temperature.
Which is kind of interesting because we quite often when we work with flash, because we both like natural light and the kind of natural look and feel. We have a tendency to have problems that the flashes don't go low enough.
Exactly, but this one goes really low.
That's the funny thing. It has a very, very broad range from all the way to 2,400 watt seconds to all the way to nothing.
Yeah.
The only kiss of light.
This is
cool.
Nothing. Boop.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's the Pro 10.
Awesome. I will turn that one off.
Yes.
Otherwise we'll... And then from there you go to D2.
Yes, D2. Likewise as the Pro 10, it's on
mains powered.
Yeah, mains powered. And this one is on... What's the power of this one? Like 500? Is there one? Yeah,
that's a 500. Yeah.
Is there 1,000 too?
There's 1,000 too as well. Yeah. And then we also have D1s, which are very similar to this one, but it's slightly longer recycling time and slightly longer flash duration on the D1.
Yes.
But still a very potent studio light.
Yeah. So here the generator is inside here instead of as the Pro 10 where the generator is separated from the head.
Exactly. So this is then the flash head, this part, and this is the generator, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So I will, just because it's fun.
And that is also a beast working in studio. It's extremely fast. It goes down to 1/60,000 of a second.
1/6, and yeah, that is fast.
That
if you want to freeze water driplets or flying ducks or stuff like that.
Or my salary when it leaves the bank account.
Yeah.
Then you need.
Yeah. Actually, I just want to show this. Now we are on power level 7, and if I flash, you can hear that the beep is coming maybe, almost instantly. So I can go really fast on power level 7. On power level 8, now we're talking about a lot of power. It's still super fast. So this is a really good flash compared to anything out on the market, I would say.
Yeah,
it's extremely
really cool.
reliable. And I will turn this off. I thought, it has an on button.
Cool. Then we move from, we don't like chords every now and then. We want to take the chords away. Then we jump over to boom.
Yep, the B1X. The B1X.
Yes.
The B1 and the B1X, they are almost the same, except that this one is a newer and has more powerful batteries, and it has this matte black outer rim here.
Correct, and a stronger LED.
And a stronger LED.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I put this on. So here it is. We have this battery-driven flash.
500 watt seconds.
500 watt seconds, and I go down just to make it flash a bit.
Yeah.
Cool. So this is when you do not want to have any power be in, how do you say?
Any mains cable.
No mains cable, just battery. And of course the batteries are, if you have two of them, you can charge one while you're shooting the other.
Exactly.
So super good. I use this a lot. Really,
it's a workhorse. It's really a good workhorse. It's sturdy. It takes a little bit of banging, which we do quite a lot, and
it also have this built-in reflector. I think you call it like
exactly,
that.
Yeah.
So you don't have this extruding part, which makes it really, it's not impossible to ruin, but it can take a bang a lot more when you are packing your stuff and such.
Yeah, exactly. The light bulb is not exposed as it is over here. and that's a pricey little thing there.
Yeah.
So you want to bang that up in glass, so that's really good. So that's that's the B10, and now we have the new little baby here, the B10.
Oh, the B10.
Yeah, so that comes kind of below the B1X, and then you have the B10. And here I would recommend you really to go into Chris Fain's video, which you can find below, and he will go through all the ins and outs.
All the ins and outs of the menus and all the ins and outs of how to use it.
And the app. And
he talks about the app too.
Yeah,
when you're connecting the phone via Bluetooth to the two, so we can control it. That is super cool. So Chris Faint, check him out. So the B10, like the B1, it's battery driven, a lot smaller, a lot lighter, and 250 watt seconds in such a small package. I think that this will be an interesting product. Battery even smaller. I like this one because now you can really put it in your back pocket. And
but it does make your butt look bigger.
Yes, that's good if you are like me, have no butt at all. Okay, so
cool.
the B10.
B10. Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. So.
And then after the B10,
I just want to do like this because this is something I like to hold like this.
It's like a laser gun.
Yes.
That the police officer.
Yeah, like you're looking how fast people are driving.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's the B10. And then one more thing we must show with the B10, the modeling light.
Yeah.
For you guys who are filming, I know that you have already checked this out, but you can of course dim the modeling light and you can change the temperature.
Yeah.
Just like that, from cold to warm.
That is awesome.
Yeah, and this can of course be controlled by the app in the phone too. So that is really awesome, and there is no fan that will sound anything. So for video guys like me, I shoot a lot of video.
Well, you know what I learned today?
What did you learn today?
There is a fan.
There is a fan. I'm sorry.
But apparently the electronics handles a lot. I mean, I never heard it when we were firing it off during the workshops.
Yeah, it's not like the D2, like they are. The fan in D2 is really sounding.
Exactly.
So for video use, this one is super interesting.
And then after the B10, we have the
B2.
B2, which has the generator in a little pouch over there that you can keep as a weight on the stand or put it over your shoulder.
Exactly, and actually this thing to keep it as a weight on the stand is I think it's quite smart because then you can put the weight really low, which makes the stands really sturdy and can stand, if you have an umbrella or something and the wind grabs it, the weight on the lower part is really, really good. And
then you have a small light head.
Yeah, and it's a really smart light head. Yeah, super duper light and compact. And you have sockets for 2 lights.
That's true. You have 2 lights there as well.
Yes.
And some people think that now it's going to be discontinued when this one is launched, but it's actually not. They're still both available on the market.
Yes.
And then we have the last little baby over here.
The A1.
A1, yay!
Yay, the A1, exactly. And the A1 is super interesting because this is the first flash from Profoto that you put on the camera.
Yeah.
So I know that you at Profoto call it the world's smallest studio light. Mm-hmm. And I really do agree with that because it works exactly the same as the rest of the products. Like you have this super easy way of changing the power.
Yeah, if you turn on the modeling light, it screws up the. Yeah,
okay. Like changing the power, and it's super easy to have the radio.
The menu looks very similar to all the other products as well.
Yeah, and for me, compared to other stuff that you can have on camera, I won't use the word, speed lights and such. The problems with them are often, for me at least, all the batteries, the AA batteries. Mm-hmm. You never know, are they charged, are they not charged? It's a lot. It's a constant fight.
Yeah.
But with this battery,
boom,
it works, and it's super simple to just change it and just to have 2 batteries in your pocket. Then then you're ready to go for days almost.
Cool. So the lineup.
Yeah, that is
A1,
line
B2, B10, B1X, D1, and then we have D2. I don't have the D1 here. It's out on the production. And then we have the Pro Head with the...
yeah. Would you say that the D1...
With the Pro 10.
The D2 and the D1 are similar? It is just the D2 is the upgrade of the
Yeah,
D1.
I mean, there's a huge difference between the D1 and D2 with regards to recycling time. D2 is much faster, and also the flash duration is much shorter on the D2.
Okay.
So that's a big difference between them. But the amount of light that you have in them is the same, like 500 or 1,000 watt seconds.
Yeah. I have a bunch of D1s in my studio. I have a bunch of these, a bunch of D1s. I do not have any D2s. I would love to have some D2s, but I have my D1s. They work just fine.
I got 2 D2s.
You got two D2s. But I have a bunch of these ones.
Oh, yeah.
These ones are the real workhorses on location, especially on location. This is, for me, the absolutely best thing ever. A lot of power, easy to carry around. But now, when this one has arrived, I think that
it's going to be the Christmas present in my household. I can tell you.
It's super interesting.
Everyone I know will get a B10, but I'll keep them for you guys. So in my studio, so you can, whenever you need them, you can come over and pick them up.
Cool.
So anyway, so let's sit down and have a quick chat about some numbers.
Yes. I actually did a test.
Well, let's see if we can put this one on.
I just take a sip of my coffee. Sorry for the sound when I swallow the coffee. And now, ladies and gentlemen, the Swedish tobacco snus. After coffee, it's a must. Okay, so I did a test, a comparison. Or do you want to talk about the flash duration things?
Yes. And then we come to your test.
Then we come to my test.
Because I think, and then we also want you to shoot a little bit on the light pattern.
Of course.
Because we have set up, if you see here, over, exactly, how do you point? Over there.
Should be over there.
So we have a camera. We have a light meter set up against the wall, and it's exactly 2 meters away. We put a little bit of piece of tape. We're going to place the flashes, and we're going to read what the light meter says.
Yes.
So we can see if there's any difference in power. And then also, at the same time, we take a picture, shoot it into Capture One, which we have over here, right? Yeah, so that's up and running, cool. And then we'll be able to see how the light pattern looks like, which is kind of important as you're painting with light to know kind of what's your starting point.
Yes, and it's kind of important to understand when you compare the light pattern for example, from the A1 to the B10. How come you get so much power from the A1 compared to the B10, which is really powerful? And that has to do with the light pattern. But we will talk about that.
Yeah. Cool. So if we then go and talk about recycling time.
Yes.
And if we start with the A1, I can be pedagogic and go over to this guy, yeah. So maybe I just draw, we do...
So now you're drawing the A1.
A1, like that. And it has the shortest flash duration, which is, or the shortest recycling time, which is at power level 2.
Okay.
It is 0.03 seconds.
Okay, 0.03 seconds at the lowest power setting.
Exactly, so that's how the fastest it can be in recycling.
300ths of a second.
Yes, correct. And then the slowest or the longest recycling time is when it's at power level 10. So let's put P10. It's kind of, is it visible? Yeah,
it's
kind of
visible. Super pedagogical. I'm so glad you're doing this. It's so nice.
It's 1.3 seconds.
1.3 seconds at power level 10, maximum power.
So that's from one flash to the other, it's 1.3 seconds.
Okay, so it should be like P1 on
No,
the first one.
sorry, it is, that's a 2. I thought it,
1.2.
Yeah.
Ah, that's a big difference.
Yes.
Now, okay.
so much shorter.
Anders, what do you have in that glass? 1.3, come on. Okay, 1.2
What kind
seconds.
of crazy talk is that? So it's 1.2 seconds on the A1.
Okay.
And from there we go over to B2.
B2. Okay.
B2. And the B2 is...
Sounds almost like Bishu, David Bishu.
Yeah,
B2.
actually this 3 here is a 5. You saw that.
Anders.
It's 0.05 seconds,
Okay.
the A1. But the B2 is, I mixed those out, it's 0.3 seconds. When it's at power level 2, the B2, it's actually at 0.03 seconds.
Okay.
And if you are at power level 10, it is 1.3 seconds. So that's why I mixed those up.
I see.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's about the same there. 1.3 seconds versus 1.2 seconds.
Yeah. So the B2 can be slightly faster at the lowest power level, but it's not dramatic. And then we have...
Okay, but why would you like to have a slow flash duration? Oh, this is the
recycling
time.
Yeah, recycling time.
Yeah. So then, if you have a super fast recycling time, then you can shoot super fast.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Yeah. So it's from one flash to the other, it's a shorter time frame.
Yeah. So if you are like shooting a burst of images, then you need a lower power setting on the flash.
Correct.
Then you can shoot like jumping foxes or rolling horses or whatever.
And then if we then do the B10.
That's interesting. The B10.
Yes. So the B10s at the lowest power level, at power level 1, the time from one flash to the other is 0.05 seconds.
Like the A1.
Yes. And at power level 10, it is exactly 2 seconds.
I just want to put in one thing, a question from Michael Maury. He asks about the comparison between the B10 and the B2. We will actually look into that a little bit later.
Very shortly, we will get into the power discussion. Yeah.
Yes, so stay tuned.
And there were nothing else. HSS.
How is the HSS?
And then, so the B10 can replace the B2. Well, I mean, we got a question from Boris Maki if the B10 can replace the B2. Both yes and no. I mean, there are some differences with it. As you saw that you had, the B2 has a generator, so it actually can work as a weight on the light stand. Yeah, you can buy a bag of sand as well, but it's really convenient to have that already with you instead of carrying other.
And actually, you're also separating the heat from the head, or?
Correct. Yeah.
I mean,
to a certain level, yeah. But then you have also the possibility of having 2 heads.
Yes.
So in a very small package, you can have easily 2 heads, and you can have one for the main light, and the other one do something for the background, or a kicker, or rim light, or so forth. So, for me, it's versatile. So I think there's room for both. It's a little bit depending on what you want. I'm a big fan of the B2. Others are not. So I think it's a matter of taste on what you want. Because I like 2 lights, because then I can have one main light to do something on the person that I photograph, and then I use the second one either to create a rim light to separate the person from the background, or create something with the background if it's a boring background. Yeah. So I like that.
I think that the B10 versus the B2, it's going to be interesting to watch, to see how people will what they will do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we have Trond Helge here commenting that the D1 is a slower flash duration compared to the D2. Well, it's like comparing a standard Ford Fiesta and a Ferrari on the racetrack. Well, yeah, you're right. I mean, the D2 is the Ferrari. It is a lot faster than the D1.
So I should be ashamed with my D1s. No.
Correct. Shame on you.
Shame on me.
That's true. We have, what is else here? Any other questions?
It's super great with all your questions. Please pop them in because we love to answer them here live.
What do you get in the combo? Oh, what do you think about the combo B10 and A1? Should be nice and easy to carry around. Well, actually, that was the combo that I used in my Botswana trip. I had an A1 and a B10, and that is for me an awesome combination. It was really smooth. I mean, I used the A1 for a lot of things because that's enough light for me for most type of photography. But when you need that little extra kick and you want to do, then the B10 was a fantastic complement. So really good.
So a good combination with the B10 and A1. You agree with that?
Yes. So that's really cool. I think we had some other question here. Where is it? Yeah. Anywho, continuing with the recycling times. If we then compare it with the B1X, the flash duration on that one is at 0.1 seconds. At the lowest power, and the maximum at P1 or P10 power level 10 is at 1.9 seconds. So here we see something where there's a difference between the B10 and the B1X on the very lowest power, where the B10 is 0.05 seconds and the B1X is at 0.1. You have to take into consideration that it's the B10 is half the watt seconds, so it's half the power. That's why you also have a lower or faster recycling time. So that's the
recycle time of
the and it's pretty even, pretty similar across the line. So there's not huge differences. Might be good to know. And then if we then look at the recycling time, if we do a new...
Well, actually it was quite interesting
the flash duration,
with the B2 versus the B10 or the maximum power level. The B2 had 1.3. I'm sorry to, if it's possible to go back. The B2 has 1.3 at maximum power, and B10 has 2 seconds at maximum power. That is quite a big difference.
That's true. Yeah. So that there you have a difference. If you're really gonna fire a lot, then going with the B1X at power level 9, for example, will be similar as the B2 at 1.3.
Yeah.
So if you're really gonna pop full power, then the B1X or the B2 is actually better.
I know there's a lot of shooters out there, action photography shooters, shooting ski jumpers or BMX persons. They really need a fast recycling time. So the B2 is a fast one, actually. Yeah. Cool. Sorry to pop that in to ruin your new slide there.
That was the recycling time. And then if we then go over to flash duration, and flash duration is a bit of a tricky part, because then we have, see if I can find that page over here. So this is the slide that I used on the HSS episode. And if the blue line, which is a pulsating one, that is the HSS pulse. And the yellow line here is actually the irregular flash. And the flash goes up, boom, and then you have a curve that goes down, and then it shuts off over here. And this is what you normally measure. The black line that I have here in the middle is actually the line where you can cut the flash. That's when you do like freeze mode. Then you actually cut the flash and you take away the tail end of the flash. So that keeps it even slower.
And that is also why the color, the temperature can change.
Yes.
Since you are cutting it off, you get less warm lights. Hence the cooler light when using like freeze mode and such.
Exactly. So it can actually differ with about 2000 Kelvin.
Yeah.
From so it's 2000 Kelvin from normal mode to freeze mode.
Yes.
You get much shorter time, but it gets colder.
Yes.
The cool thing is that though it is constant. So whenever you have moved over to that freeze mode, it stays same. It doesn't shift a lot. So
yeah.
it's
So that is something you can change in your camera or
exactly.
in RAW converter.
Yeah.
One thing to consider though, if you are using two flashes, one in freeze mode and one that is not in freeze mode,
then you have an issue.
Yeah.
You will have two different temperatures.
Yes. So and then it would be more efficient if you have a blue gel on the one without the freeze mode to match them, instead of putting a warm gel on the freeze one, because it doesn't have any warm color in it, so you will just lose power. You need to cool down the other flash.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry.
Awesome.
Let's go back.
Let's go back. Let's look at flash duration, and here I'm going to do B2. Take these ones, and at flash duration at the lowest power level, at power level 2, is 1,000 of a second. And if you then go over to power level 10, no, sorry, the opposite. Now I'm back on the other one. So we take that at power level 2, you have, because the lower the power, the shorter the flash duration is.
Yeah.
If you have high power, then it goes boom, and then woo, it takes longer for it to cool down. That's why you have a longer flash duration. But the fastest it can be is at 1/15,000 of a second. So it's 1/15,000 of a second is the fastest that the B2 can be.
Okay, and that is when you want to freeze motion.
That's, yeah, exactly. So then you're on freeze mode. So that's always the fastest one is on freeze mode.
Yeah.
And then if we look at the B10, it has similar numbers. At full power, it's at 1,300th of a second. And at power level 2, it is 1/50,000th of a second.
50,000.
So it's extremely short.
Wow, isn't that like the Pro 10?
No, that's
Okay.
80,000 of a second.
Okay.
Yeah, it's nothing. But it's really fast on power level 2. But if you then go over to power level 1, it slows down a little bit. So at P1, it's 1/42,000 of a second.
Interesting. So it's faster on power level 2 than
Yeah.
on power level 1.
Correct.
That is really good to know if you want to freeze those water driplets or whatever.
Exactly. So it's really, really fast at this one.
Yeah.
And then if we then look at the B1X at full power, it is similar to the B2, which is 1,000 of a second. And if you go to power level 2, it is at 1/19,000th of a second. So that's the B1X, and you can see on all of these, at the power level 2, if it's a 1/15,000 of a second or a 19,000 or a 50,000 of a second, it is still faster than the camera with the 1/8,000 of a second as a maximum. So you will always be faster with the flash compared to what the camera can fleece with the shutter speed.
Well, 150,000
Thousands of a second.
difficult word to say. That is really fast.
It is really fast. So there are some numbers for you guys.
We had this question here from Mark Brodsky. He has a question if we have any recommendations for audio flash camera triggers. I have worked with a couple of them, and there is really super duper expensive ones. You can rent a big case and really super duper cool cables and things. I do not know the brand of it, but I do know the brand of a small one. I just forgot it.
Miops?
Miops,
yeah.
Exactly. The Miops, M-I-E-O-P-S. They have a really cool, simple trigger. Did I say simple? It's not simple. It can do a lot of stuff.
It's easy to use.
Easy to use, and you can control it with your phone. You can connect your phone. You can do a lot of stuff, and it has audio, so you can trigger flashes with audio or with movement. Light,
or with laser.
Or with laser, or with, did I say movement? Actually, we did this, why did I say that? We did this rat, how to, hur säger man råttfälla? How do you say?
A rat trap.
A trap for a rat with it. Not a trap, but we wanted to take a picture of a rat. We had a rat in a studio we were in. So we had this old food, pile of food, and we had the Miops connected to this, so when the rat was supposed to get to the food, it will move, and then it will trigger the flash and the camera, so we get a picture of it. The problem was that the rat moved a lot when the flashes were bursting, so I don't know if he felt so well, because it was like boom, 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 boom. And I think that rat doesn't feel so good anymore. I'm so sorry, Mr. Rat, but the Miops trigger for sound, and check that out.
Yeah. So they're really cool. I also used the Miops in Botswana.
Oh, you did?
Yeah. So I had the laser. No. I used the laser trigger. So once the laser was broken, you had boom, one flash.
Okay, that sounds more.
It was more controlled.
More control.
So anyway, why don't we move over and start looking at the power level, or the amount of power we have on each flash, and also the light pattern.
Yes, let's do that to try it out.
Yeah, exactly. So if we start with A1 maybe, I put you on this overhead cam.
Yeah, the A1.
Yeah.
I bring it on. A1.
And I'll control this guy here to make sure we got connection there. Yes, we do.
Okay, so here we have a light meter in exactly the same height as the flash, 150 centimeters, at a distance of 2 meters. And I aim the flash towards the meter like this, and we are going to measure the power of maximum power of the A1. I turn on.
Is it zoomed in or zoomed out?
It should be zoomed in. I will check it, though. I'm just looking for the power. Oh, there's the power button here. Okay, so that is up, and that is up, and it's maximum zoomed in. And I trigger this, so it's ready to do the measurements. I just see that it is lined up all right. And camera is on. Let's take a test picture.
Yes.
See where we are at. So the A1 at power level 10, maximum zoomed in. And I just want to see what we got. Cool. So you can see at the image, I think we have another flash going on there.
Yes.
Let's turn off all the other flashes.
It's the B2.
Yeah, the B2 is on.
There we go. Let's take a second.
Take now another one. Second picture.
Yes.
Okay, so the meter says 16.1.
Okay.
F 16.1.
Cool.
Yep, so now I have this reference as a reference value. So if I zoom out the A1 to a maximum, we should get lower power since we are spreading out the light much more. So the rays of light are diverging much more. So let's try this one. Maximum zoomed out at power level 10. Then we get 11.6.
I'm taking notes here on
You're taking notes. That is great. The first one was like 16.1. So maximum zoomed out was 11.6. That is not one full stop, but almost one full stop, maybe a half, 2/3 of a stop.
Was it 11.3?
11.6.
Okay.
Yep.
So I have those numbers here. So I'll keep on adding them. So
I change to a B2.
Okay.
Let's compare the power to the B2. And I have turned it off. And I turn on the B2 and put it on my mark 2 meters away. Try to align it perfectly like this. So we have the same distance, like that, and like that. Okay, so the B2 at, I must check the power level, should be at 10. Yep. 3, 2, 1, and boom.
Okay.
That was the B2. So power level is F 11.4. 11.4.
So the A1 is actually a lot stronger.
How much was the A1? 16.1,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, it's 2/3 of a stop more, or maybe even more, which means that the A1, we could say that the A1 is actually stronger than the B2, if you put it in that.
Exactly.
Put it in that way.
But the watt seconds then? I mean, there's 76 watt seconds in an A1 and there's 250 watt seconds on the B2.
Yes. 76 watt seconds. This is the camera that is on, right?
Yeah, but now you're not in front of the camera. Now you're in front of the camera.
Yes. 76 watt seconds of the A1 compared to the B2 with 250 watt seconds. Still, the A1 measures almost one stop more than the B2. And that is because the rays of light from the A1, all the rays is more parallel. So more light hits the light meter. So you have a lot less power from the beginning, but you have more photons hitting the light meter, and it has all about the
light spread.
The light spread out of the A1. So that is quite important. You can't just compare watt seconds to watt seconds. You must compare it. You must you also got to think about how the light spread is, how big the light pattern is, and how big your how big the light pattern is. Because if you have an A1 and you're going to try to light up a group of people, then you have to maximize your light spread, and then you will have a lot less power.
And which I can show on the capture one here. So this is the B2's light pattern, which is a lot wider, and this is the A1 when it's zoomed out. You can see it's smaller. There's the A1 zoomed out, and if we zoom in, you see it's even a lot smaller. So
Yes.
all the photons are really being focused towards the middle.
Exactly.
And that's the B2.
And that is the reason why the A1 appears to be stronger than the B2, but it also has a smaller light pattern. That is super important to understand.
Yeah.
That the size of the light pattern, light, how the light spreads out is super affecting the power. So let's bring in the B10.
B10, yeah, so there's a difference between, if you look at the A1 zoomed out and then the B2. So there's a huge difference. There's a lot more light going towards the side, so a wider stamp of light on that one. And now we have David setting up the B10.
B10, I'm checking so everything is lined up all right. like that. And let's see that the flash meter still is waiting for a flash. Okay, power level 10 on B10. This is interesting. 3, 2, 1. And boom. So we have a reading of 16.1.
F16.1.
Yes.
Wow, so that's compared similar to the A1 when it's zoomed in, but with a much wider light pattern. As you can see here in Capture One, it is very wide. It's even slightly wider than the B2. Here's the D2, and that's the B10. B2, B10.
Yeah, and it's more, yeah, the B10 has a lot of more light, and that is because I suppose that is it takes care of all the light that is created inside the flash that is going backwards from the light tube. That is my suspicion. I suspect that is what's going on.
Because I mean, from the flash tube, you have photons going in all directions, even going back. So depending on how efficient the reflector at the back is in taking those and shooting them forward. So there's a lot of things going on inside and behind the little frosted glass. So what have you set up now?
Now I have a B10X at power level 10. Maybe I should do power level 9 first. So we have 250 watt seconds.
Yeah. Oh, we got a question between the reflectors from the B10 and the B2. Yeah, there is some technical changes. Remember, the B2 came out 2014, so that's 4 years ago. So there's been a lot of evolution even in developing the reflector. So it does look different. It is more efficient in capturing the photons and firing them forward.
And let me say the same thing as you did. The flash tube shoots photons in this direction, out towards whatever you are shooting, but it also have equal amount of energy going backwards, which is reflected from the reflector in the back. And the more efficient the reflector is.
And it could be the surface and the shape of the reflector.
Exactly, the shape of the reflector and the surface, how shiny it is, it will give more power going in the correct direction.
Yeah.
So that is the big difference between the B2 and the B10 and everyone. So let's try out the B10X.
Yes.
At power level 9, which is 250 watt seconds.
Okay.
3, 2, 1, and then we have a reading at 16.1. Oops, maybe we should do a 10.
Exactly.
16.1, that was like the A1.
It's exactly the same, yeah.
Exactly the same as the A1. Let's do power level 10. And I will align it perfectly like that. Okay, power level 10, which is 500 watts seconds. And here we go, 3, 2, 1, and boom. Then we get a reading of, let's do it one more time because I didn't see any numbers there. There we go.
The B9 did sound a little bit high, so I don't know, maybe it didn't.
Maybe I did something wrong there, wasn't
Yeah.
Yeah, because now when I activated this, it got 16.6 at power level 10. I do a new reading of power level 9 then.
Yeah, let's do that.
Yeah, so you get 16.6.
Yes, got it.
Yeah, and now I am at power level 9. Yeah, 11.5. 11.5 at 250 watt seconds.
Okay, cool. And so this is power level 9, power level 10, if you look at light image. And here we can see it's really bright, really wide. So we can see there's a lot of usage of a lot of photons going forward. Good for, and now it's 2 meters, so at 6 point, maybe somewhere 6-7 feet away for the American markets. So it's fairly close, but you still see a lot of good light spread, especially if you compare that one to a zoomed in A1. Big difference. And then we zoom out the A1, we go to the B2, and then we go to the B10, and B1X at power level 10, and then power level 9. Cool. So let's sum this up and take a look at what we have here. We have these readings. We did get at the A1, zoomed in and zoomed out, 2/3 of a stop difference if you zoom in, zoom out. And going up to the B2, it's 11.4, and it's almost 1 stop difference between the B2 and B10. And it's all about, you have the same amount of watt seconds, but the B10 is more efficient in shooting, using those photons and shooting them out forward. Light pattern-wise, there was not a huge difference between them. So it's just that you got a lot more light going forward with the B10. So you have more light to shape, basically.
Yeah.
And then moving over to the B1X, it is at 250 watt seconds at power level 9. It was at 11.5, which was the same as the B2. And then if you go on full power, 500 watt seconds at P10, it was at F16.6. So it's almost not that far away. I mean, the B10 is much more, is almost as efficient in using the photons, and then you get about the same as 500 watt seconds.
Yeah.
But the difference again is that those 500, if we look at this one,
That is the B1X, right?
that's the B1X at power level 10. And if we look, oh, let's see, let's switch you back to capture one. So this is the B1X power level, really, really wide light. There's a lot of light going all the way up to the roof, the floor, etc. And then we look at the B10, and then boom, you see how it got darker here on the side?
Yeah, smaller light pattern.
Smaller light pattern, and you don't really light up the roof as much as you did on the B10.
So the B10 is, the light out of the B10 is going more parallel than from the B1.
Yes.
Would you say that when you put the B10 in a softbox, would that be a problem, or is it wide enough?
It is definitely wide enough.
Definitely wide enough.
It's definitely wide enough, but with the B1X you have a lot more spaghetti or more light. You have, because as it goes wider, all that is collected. So if you want to fill up a large octa, for example, or from the larger RFI softboxes, the B1X will be more efficient in filling them.
Yeah.
If you go really big.
Yeah.
And so the B1X is more of a workhorse. It is slightly has a slightly faster recycling time, and it has a lot more spaghetti to fill big light shaping tools. And then also if you put like a magnum reflector on it, the OCF magnum reflector, you can really fire away and have a lot of power with that one.
Yeah, I actually saw a question here. What is the difference in the reflector? Oh, we have talked about the difference from the reflectors. I saw a question about reflectors, which reflector you should use.
Yeah, there's an episode where we actually go through those.
Yeah.
So if you go into our archive here on the Profoto Facebook page, there will very shortly be, it's going to be on the Profoto web page. So we're going to have all this under the inspiration part, that we will have a separate section for Academy Live. And there we will have all the separate episodes, and you can just pick the topics and you will get access to them. And
until Profoto gets it right, you can go to my webpage, because I have all the episodes collected.
And what's your webpage?
Oh, my webpage is my last name, bicho.se, bicho.se.
B-I-C-H-O,
Yes. And here
B-I-C-H-O.
we have. Yeah.
What's his name? Oh, cool. So I'm just going to move over here. That kind of sums up. I think we answered all the questions. We passed an hour already. It goes fast. How would these compare to indirect light readings like in an umbrella and softbox? Well, so it's I mean, then you would have to use the same umbrella or the same softbox, for example, and do the same measurements on all of them. You will see similar level of differences between them, but they will be lower or higher depending on what light shaper you're using. Some light shapers actually give you more power because they collect the power like a silver umbrella versus a white umbrella. So there will be different. But if you use a silver umbrella and compare all the different products, you will see ballpark is the same difference from one product to the other using the same modifier.
Yes.
And so that's kind of giving you a hint of what you have. But again, if you're really going to work with group photos, large light shapers, and fire a lot and fast, then the B1X is a workhorse. It's but then the B10 is a very, very, very potent flash. It's really efficient in using all the light going in all directions and putting it where you use it, basically, in front of the flash.
There's actually one more thing with the B10 that we haven't mentioned, and that is that you can use a power cord, the power mains, to the flash.
Oh yes.
So I mean, it's a mix with, it's both a battery flash and a corded flash.
Yeah. So you can plug it in the mains while you are shooting. That's true.
Yeah.
But Chris goes through all that in his video.
He does.
So don't say everything.
Oh, sorry.
We have to force these guys to go over to and check out.
Yeah, because he really goes through.
It's a great walkthrough of the product in all ins and outs. Mike was playing with a B10 and a telezoom reflector and got some interesting results. So that's interesting.
That would be really cool if you could write down what results you got.
Yeah.
So we can
play with it. And we have a telezoom, actually 2 telezooms right there on the wall. So maybe we should play with that one day.
I can play with, I can do that. Or you can give him that one again.
So bicho.se.
Yes, bicho.se.
Yeah. So that's where you have all the different episodes. But I think that's it for today. That's all we have time for. And we will actually next week we were going to be at Photokina. We will be there on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. So if any one of you guys are at Photokina, come by the Profoto booth and
say hi.
Exactly. You see how we look like? We will look more or less exactly the same.
More or less exactly the same.
Yeah,
I will probably have a black T-shirt.
I will probably have a black shirt.
Yeah, so you can't miss us.
Yeah. And come and chat with us. We love to meet you face to face. We do have one performance per day on the professional stage. We don't know exactly what it is, but it's one of the Photokina stages. And we'll do our 1 hour dog and pony show.
Our dog and pony show.
And you can pick if you want to be the dog or the pony.
Yes.
And so that would be good fun.
Yep.
Awesome, awesome. Well, anywho, thank you guys. We're signing off from here.
We do.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
See you.